There was one interesting one. I thought maybe I would also love to get an answer for that. While you were talking about, all the AI models have access to very similar sort of data.
Yeah.
Of course, the sources might be different, as I understand, but then again, the internet is open, models are run on that. Then why do we get different responses from different tools for the same prompt?
So what happens is, as I said, let's say, for example, I am creating a model and my intention is that whatever output that the user receives out of my model has to be very elaborate, has to be, such that it is very easily understandable by the other person. Okay, that is my reward function. So the reward function is that the fluency, the structure of the answer has to be very nice. And let's assume some other model focuses on conciseness and bullet point based answers. The output style of the other model is bullet points and concise answers. Okay. Now, first one for the same question will give you an elaborate answer paragraph based so that you're able to understand very easily. The second one will give you an answer which is bullet point based, very concise, which is for a bit senior guy. So let's say, for example, my kid, he would benefit more if he's doing work on previous model, or a college student would benefit more, and a CXO level guy would benefit more if he's working on the second model. Does that make sense?
So it totally depends on how the model has been trained with respect to multiple
So
feedbacks that it has been given
see, you
and
see
trained
this
for
part?
what our audience.
My screen is visible.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you said training data is same.
Hmm.
Reward function is different.
Understood. Okay, okay, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Safety parameters are different. As I said, DeepSeek is not allowed to speak about China. But
Yes.
Grok is allowed to speak about US. Right?
Hmm.
So these are your guardrails that every company, puts up. So we will not, provide. So let's say, for example, you go to any model. You go to any model and tell them, I want to hack Facebook. All of them will say no. That is their safety parameter. Right? And output style is whether it wants a bulleted answer, it wants a concise answer, it wants a longer paragraph, it wants a shorter paragraph. So that is your output style. And this is what you can actually control from your prompting also, which we have already scheduled in our next session. How do you control output of your prompt using an input?
Interesting.
Yeah.
There are a few
So
more
I see around
questions.
170 people have entered data there.
Oh,
We
great.
have received around 810 tasks. Around 600 of them are already classified, whether they are repetitive, whether they are, judgment heavy, risk heavy. So I see a lot of people have, put in, but around 25% have put in so far.
Let's take some more questions then till
Yeah,
then.
sure. We can do that. If anybody
So
has any
Prakash is
questions,
asking,
yeah.
what is the specific purpose of this AI tool and how should a user choose the right tool to get the correct output? Like when to use ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini.
My next
I'm
two or
I'm and
three
I'm
slides will
assuming for the
actually
same
answer that.
task. Yeah,
My
same
next two
task
or
if
three
I
slides
want
will
to choose.
exactly answer that. The
Oh,
next
great.
two, three slides that we have will exactly answer that same question. Because that
Perfect,
is the
perfect.
common question everybody has. When do I use
Ah,
ChatGPT? When do I use Claude, Gemini, etc. And I'll
nice.
also come back to the very first slide or second slide that we did. What are the kind of tools that we'll talk about in yellow belt? And all those tools have very specific purposes. I'll quickly touch on each of those tools also.
Awesome. The next one, Webhub says, how do we foolproof information security and compliance while AI adoption increases?
So what happens is, this is where organizational security and parameters come in. Okay. Now let's say, for example, when you are basically using AI into your organizational setup. So what all the organizations do is they create a RAG. RAG is basically a layer of information which is very peculiar and specific to your organization and should not go out. So what you do is you have an AI like Claude or GPT you are using, but you are telling it for all the queries that my people put in, you have to take obviously your data, which you already have, and also consider this separate data which I have created for you. Right? And that you don't expose to the entire world. So for example, the McKinseys and Deloittes of the world, they have a lot of reports, but they don't want these reports to go public. So they create their own data set and ask Claude to set up in such a way that it has to also consider this data set when it is creating an output. right? So there is a concept of RAG, which is, already being considered in your black belt. That is how organizations basically, think about security, governance. Their data should not go out. Irrelevant data should not come in. So you have to set up those parameters when you deploy AI tools in your organizations. Are there
Okay.
other questions?
There are more. How do we identify the reward function or safety of a specific AI tool?
So pretty much, all the tools, the way all the models which are available today, along with that, you would, if you just simply research a bit, you will understand what is the reward function. So I'll give you an example. Your ChatGPT O1 and O3 series was focused on reasoning. All right. So when somebody is focused on reasoning, it tries to think of multiple scenarios that can go wrong. Okay. And your ChatGPT instant models are focused on fluency, which are, for general public, so that their emails are beautiful, their communication is simpler. They are instant, focused on fluency. Your Perplexity is focused on research. All right. So every model you have Sonnet, Opus, both of them are, models of Claude. Opus is a reasoning model. Sonnet is a general purpose model. So all the models that these companies come up with, along with that, they also mention, what is the kind of output that you can expect out of it.
Got it. Okay. Please explain how the AI overview works. Is it the same as you mentioned, Google picking information from the SERP?
No, so it is basically a technical concept of, how data is embedded and how it is retrieved. Okay. At Google, the way it functions is, it basically is an engine which takes all the data in, then it maintains an index. All right. And from that index, whenever you search something, it is not a singular index, it is multi-index. Then when you search something, it tries to find that which index would give me the best output and gives out the results. With AI, the problem, it is not a problem, but it is how AI functions. See, Google is designed to give you a set of 50, 60 outputs, 100 outputs, and you have to use your brain and get a singular output. The way AI is designed is it has to somehow find out and give you one single output. Because AI, the way it is set up is it cannot look like it is unable to give you an answer. It cannot look like that it doesn't know what it is speaking. Right? That is how AI is designed. That is basically core thinking principle. Google is saying, I'll give you a list of options. You have to choose what is relevant for you. AI is saying, I'll give you one output. So AI creates that mechanism using safety, reward functions, etc., to give you that one singular output. So the underlying principle of, operation is different for both of them. So
Understood.
Google AI overview, the way it functions is it basically takes all the output that it has in search, tries to match it with the Q&A format data available on the internets. On the website. So let's say, for example, you have FAQs on your website, you have certain schema based setup on your website. That data is considered by Google, and if it finds something which is relevant and different from other things, so let's say, for example, it has indexed website A for certain data, but it is not able to find data point 2 in that website. It tries to find the data point 2 in the most next relevant website and appends that in their overview. So if you look at Google overview output also, on the right hand side, you will see a scroll of all the websites from where that data was picked up and the sections from that website where the data was picked up. All right. So it creates an output, tries to find that output on those websites, which are in the top 10, 15 results, and gives you an overview. I'll quickly check how many people have entered. We have around 200 people who have entered data about their task. I think it's a decent set so that we can, collate the responses and then create use cases based on those responses for the upcoming sessions. Would that make sense? Would we continue?
Yes, yes. I think we've got
In
one
fact,
third
that
responses.
link is
It's fine.
also available for people to fill in later. We can provide that link, continuously for people to fill in later. That should not be a problem at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we move on? People give me a thumbs up
Yes.
if you are with us still, and if you want us to move on to the next step.
So all the participants, quickly, one message, all of the links, the deck, and the tasks will be provided to you on your LXP platform within a day or two after this webinar gets over. So we will continue this for every session that happens every Thursday. As soon as the webinar ends, you will get a notification within a day or two that the course has been created on LXP. So you have to go check that out, check the recording, check what you've missed, all the links that Nikki and team are sharing. You will put that there so that it's there for you to access.
Correct. So what we had to
Yeah.
do on this platform, and I see pretty much everybody has done it. On the first page, we simply list the tasks that we do. On the second page, we, just mark it that this is a repetitive task for me. This is a task where I apply my judgment. This is a task which is risk heavy. This is a task, which is very strategic. And basis that, what we'll do in the upcoming sessions, we will start tagging models to it. We will start tagging prompt setups to it. How do you use different prompts to achieve these kind of tasks? Anybody wants me to run through that link for you on my screen, or you guys are okay? All right. Okay. So we were just speaking about all these things. Okay. And if you actually go on the internet and try to understand what are the dominant behaviors of the LLMs, all right, on the internet, the dominant behaviors are, some of them are reasoning optimized. When I say reasoning optimized, I mean that is a kind of person who would try to make sure that they are right. They are trying to give you scenarios where something can go wrong. All right. Some of the LLMs would be fluency optimized. A fluency optimized LLM would be where it is trying to put in English, which is very polished. The output is very clear so that you can understand and explain somebody very easily. Some of the LLMs are retrieval heavy. What is retrieval? You have a huge data set. It is trying to pick that data and give it to you as an output in a simpler manner, so that you are not trying to search in a huge data set. You are trying to, just chat and say, can you give me this? Can you give me this? Can you find out and give me this? All right. And the last type of dominant behavior is tools integrated, where it is integrated with your engine. So let's say you can say, send an email to all the people who are on this webinar. Okay. It has all the list of emails. It will send a particular email to all those people. Okay. These are your tools integrated dominant behavior types. Now, please understand, if a model is fluency optimized, that does not mean it's a strict category. You can also reason with that model, but the output, if you reason with a reasoning optimized model, will be better compared to a fluency optimized model. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. If somebody is good at reasoning, does not mean it is bad on fluency. It means that fluency has to be configured using prompting, right? Now I'll quickly talk about what are these models. All right. A reasoning optimized model. This is the model which will always try to be right. It will not try to impress you. This is a good, careful analyst that you have in your team. Okay. He will give you explanation. Okay, why I thought this. What was the reason I said this? What was the assumption behind my answer? Okay. It will avoid jumping to conclusions. It will give you logic to that conclusion. All right. It makes sense. Okay. Talking about fluency optimized. This is a person who is a super confident speaker. All right. This person is optimized that the language flow, the quality, the storytelling is very polished and confident. Okay. So this LLM would speak very fluently. This LLM will be very authoritative. You will think this is the perfect answer. All right. It will be persuasive even if the facts are incomplete. You will think these are the correct facts. Okay. Retrieval heavy, you can think of this LLM as a librarian. When you go to a librarian, if you ask about a certain information, certain book, if that data is available, the book is available, they will give it to you. If the book is not available, it can't do anything much with that information, without that information. All right. Their focus is that we assemble data points. They cannot come up with new things very easily. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if these analogies make sense. A careful analyst, a confident speaker, a librarian. Make sense? All right. Talking about the last one, which is tools integrated. This is an obedient machine. This is more like, you give them exact instructions, it will execute exactly. It will not even think what is the consequence. You tell them, I have to mail to 500 people who are 700 people who are on the webinar. I have to mail them this thing. It will simply mail them this thing. All right. It will not think too much about the consequences. It will simply execute what you are instructing. Okay, it will not even ask you most of the times, why are you doing it? Should we do it or not? Should we change the language to this so that we make it better? No, it will simply execute. Clear? Now, this is a summary table which I have created for everybody. Okay, we can revisit this whenever we want any type of question around what we should do. Reasoning optimized model is a careful analyst, as I said. What can be the failure? It keeps overthinking. What if this situation arises? What if this arises? What if this arises? And it will keep overthinking and delay the output. But it will try to be accurate all the time. Okay. A confidence speaker problem is it can be overconfident. Sometimes the data, underlying data is a bit wrong, a bit missing data. It will still overconfidently say this is right and it will hallucinate. Okay. Does that make sense so far? Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense. Perfect. Perfect. Retrieval heavy model, as I said, it's like a librarian. It will be silent when there is no data. Okay. And tools integrated LLMs are obedient machines. They are blind executors. Right? It's like you tell them, go and do this. They will do this and come back. All right. I have also mentioned a lot of example models. As I said, a reasoning heavy model, ChatGPT has O1, O3. Claude has Opus. All right. Fluency optimized. Claude has Claude Instant. ChatGPT has default chat, which we do every day. All the latest 5-point models, which are not reasoning heavy, go in fluency optimized. Retrieval heavy, you have Perplexity. Perplexity is being used at a lot of places for fact checking. All right. Perplexity engine is being used at a lot of places for fact checking specifically. All right. You have Gemini search models. And for tools integration, you have Microsoft Copilots and all the agents that you guys build yourself. So Microsoft Copilot is, in the Excel, you can chat, do this, write this formula. It will go and simply write that formula for you. All right. Is this table relevant? Give me a thumbs up if this table is relevant to you guys and it makes sense. Perfect. All right. Now, one very important thing which we have to consider. All right. Whenever we talk to a fluency optimized model, okay, that model is optimized for language quality and flow. Okay, it is a confident speaker, as we said. It will speak fluently for you. It will be very authoritative. But the downside can be it will be persuasive even when the facts are incomplete. All right. So this means one very important thing which you have to understand. All right. Which is most dangerous mode of AI. The worst mistakes can happen when a fluency model is considered or mistaken as correctness. All right. So all the time, whenever you are using AI, you have to ensure of 2-3 things. You have to ensure that it is always assisting and amplifying your work. You have to always review before you finalize and send it forward. And remember one thing always, you are the owner of your work, not AI. That means if something wrong output was produced and you forward it ahead, all right, what would happen is you will end up being the owner, not the AI, and you will be responsible, not the AI. All right. So this is one thing which you have to be very careful of. Your fluency models end up, showing you that we are giving you a right answer. But if you don't review it correctly, you will mistake that fluency for correctness. Does that make sense? All right. Now, coming to our next session would be, how do you ensure that your prompts are context based? All right. It will clearly demonstrate the type of task. All right. And you have to select the right tool for your work basis the table which we just saw. This one. It will come back. Okay. This table. So selecting the right AI tool, giving it the correct context, explaining the correct task. The combination of all these will eventually basically give you optimum use of AI. Does that make sense? All right. And our next session will be fully focused on how do you continuously optimize your prompts. Okay. Now, as I said, we'll obviously first take all the questions. Second, we will talk about some tools which we had mentioned earlier. One very important thing which we have to understand. Today was primarily a fundamental building session. This would be the underlying understanding when you start creating blocks on top of this. Is this clear to everybody? Give me a yes in the chat if this is clear. Perfect. So I think let's take a few questions and I'll move back to the very first slide, quickly talk about some tools which we had mentioned so that, we understand that these are the things we'll be talking about. Yep. Should we take questions first, Shreya, or how do you want me to take it?
There are very few in the chat.
Okay. So what
How
if anybody has questions, they can type in. In the meantime, I'll quickly talk about these tools which we have mentioned here. All right. ChatGPT, I think everybody knows, everybody would have at least tried to use it once, or Claude or Gemini or Perplexity. As I said, all of them have multiple models. Every model is, rewarded for a certain thing or has been programmed to do a certain thing in a certain way. All right. Copilot, Perplexity again have their models. Perplexity runs on top of some models of Claude, ChatGPT also. It has their own model called Sonar also. Okay. And Notion AI is basically a tool which tries to basically increase your efficiency multifold. Gamma is a tool where if you simply open Gamma and write a prompt saying that, let's say, I want to create a 6-slide PPT to understand how AI can be implemented in my organization. That single prompt will create the entire PPT for you in Gamma. All right. So it is a great presentation document creation tool. Notebook LM is a Google tool where you put in your URLs or videos, you put in your chat, PDFs, etc. And you will be able to create audio snippets which you can hear and understand what was mentioned in the document. Fireflies is your note taking tool. In a meeting, you can implement that and all your meeting notes will be created. Fathom is again a similar example to this. Runway ML is your video creation and an image creation tool. Midjourney is an image creation tool. Hagen is an avatar creation tool where you can create a lot of videos using Hagen. You can give it your face and it will automatically create videos where you are speaking. So it is a tool which will create lip syncs basis all the context and text that you give it. Write Sonic is a tool which you will use to, create a lot of copy, content, blogs. Chat PDF is a very important tool where you can upload a PDF and start talking to the PDF. You can chat with that PDF. Zapier is and make.com, which we'll use, will be more of an automation set of tools where you will create workflows, you will build building blocks, and those building blocks will basically execute things. Cursor is a tool which you use to create websites, web applications. Rose AI is an Excel and a spreadsheet AI tool where you can talk in your Excel and automatically things get created. Eleven Labs is a voice tool. So basically, if you have a script and you give it to Eleven Labs and ask it to convert it into a certain voice, it has thousands of voices. You can choose any voice and the entire audio will be spoken in that particular voice. All right. These are just some of them mentioned. We will use a more set of tools in the yellow belt itself. All right. Right. So what we can do is we can do this small exercise. What you guys can do is you can open ChatGPT, Claude, whatever you were using earlier. Just open that and try to write something like who is the CEO of Tesla? Okay, or you can write let's write that who is the CEO of Tesla? Okay, and tell me what is the output that you get. If possible, also tell me what is the model that you used. Who is the CEO of Tesla? Elon Musk. Bhushan says Elon Musk. So don't worry, Sanjeev, we will provide you with all the information and documents which will help you, revisit all these things. Okay. And we will also provide you the cheat sheets like the table which I showed you just now. We'll also provide you with the, relevant examples which we gave you. All those things will be provided to you. Okay. Elon Musk tried through GPT. Elon Musk tried to chat GPT. Very nice. Now, just another message reinformation. All the decks and the video recording will be available for everybody to watch again on your LXP platforms. And even if if you don't have a question today, you can go back, go through the course, experiment with your tools, and come back with questions. You can contact your admins. You can always send your questions on customer.support@skillskarma.com, and we will get that answered in the next session for sure. Now, all the people who got Elon Musk as the answer on their tool, can you type a second sentence as an output? Now, if you look at one of the answer says current CEO is Elon Musk. He has held this position since 2008. So one of the tools has given such a long answer. Some of the other tools have given smaller answers. All right. Now, in all the tools where you have mentioned or questioned this, put in a second line which says which country he is originally from. Which country he is originally from. The second question, which country he is originally from. That should be the second question that you write. And obviously generate. And put in your responses in the chat for the second question also, please. I see one response. Okay, born American, also born in South Africa. Nationality American, born in South Africa. Pretoria, South Africa. Very nice. Africa, Canada, and USA. Now, this is what I was telling you. Two important things to understand. One important thing, in the second sentence, you did not mention Elon Musk. You just mentioned he. And the context was carried forward from the previous question. All right. This is what we meant when we said AI takes context, word, and predicts the next word, next word, next word. All right. Second, if you look at answers, AI has given Africa, South Africa, but it has also mentioned USA nationality. It is giving you additional information also. All right. So this is where I was saying every AI has a different output style. All right. Everybody knows the single answer has to be South Africa only. All right. But AI is not limiting itself to South Africa. Same AI is giving different answers to different people because they have already understood what is the kind of output you expect and you like. All right. So the more and more prompting you do and the more and more output at which you get satisfied, AI understands that and keeps changing the confidence score. All right. Is that understood? Give me a thumbs up if you understood something what we said just now about context, how AI is giving you different outputs for same. So that is where we were saying our next session where we talk about, good context. This is where something context would be very important. Prompting would be very important, where we will build context. We will give the type of task. We will detail it, the output style, and try to get output as we want from AI instead of letting or AI decide what we want.